In the streets, power ain't given, it's taken. And no one, man or woman, took it like Griselda Blanco. From the barrios of Colombia to the blood-soaked streets of Miami, she built an empire of money, murder, and fear, and became one of the most ruthless drug lords the world had ever seen. This is the rise and fall of Griselda Blanco, the Cocaine Godmother. In the 1970s, Griselda touched down in Queens, New York. She married a small-time hustler, but her vision was bigger. International routes, air transport, hidden compartments. She turned smuggling into an art form. By the early 80s, she was running Miami like a queenpin, importing hundreds of kilos of cocaine a month from Colombia. The streets called it the Cocaine Cowboy era. Wild shootouts, car bombs, and stacks of cash higher than the skyline. Griselda's crew left trails of bodies in the streets, but also trails of millions in her bank accounts. She didn't trust loyalty, only fear. Her enemies disappeared, and her soldiers knew one mistake could mean execution. Even family wasn't safe. Griselda was married 3 times, and all 3 husbands ended up dead. They didn't call her the Black Widow for nothing. She named her sons after mob legends: Dixon, Uber, Osvaldo, and Michael Corleone Blanco. She raised them in luxury, but taught them the same lesson she learned. Power comes through pain. When enemies rose, Griselda sent killers on motorcycles, pulling up on their targets, shooting them down, and disappearing into traffic. She invented the drive-by assassination on bikes, a method that became infamous across Miami. But like every empire built on blood, Griselda's time ran out. By the mid-80s, the feds were closing in. Wiretaps, informants, and street rumors all pointed back to the Godmother. In 1985, she was arrested in California and sentenced to 20 years in federal prison for drug trafficking. Even behind bars, her legend grew. The woman who once ordered hits while cooking dinner, who moved cocaine like chess pieces, now locked away. When she was finally released in 2004, Griselda returned to Colombia, older, quieter, but never forgotten. She had lived through the chaos she created.
So I think it's only right to start with your mom's story first and lead into your story. Now, your mom grew up in Colombia. Where exactly?
El barrio Antioquia, also known as La Santísima Trinidad, the Trinity. And she was originally from Santa Marta and then moved to this neighborhood with my grandmother. And my grandmother was a lady of the night, I guess you could say. And this neighborhood was the only neighborhood where there was black people, prostitutes, and there was illegal gambling and reefer, cannabis at the time.
Okay, and she grew up in extreme poverty. From what I understand, no electricity, no running water. What did you say it was like growing up in that type of environment?
We would have these conversations a lot during her visiting. She would explain to me why she became who she became and how poor she was. So she would tell me that she was so poor that she'd go to play soccer outside her house, but all the other little girls would make fun of her because she was so poor, and they would tell her, look at your feet, they're full of blood from the slaughterhouse, your mother can't even afford shoes for you, ha ha ha. And my mother would run home and hide in her closet. And she told me, Maikito, that those days were the days that I promised myself that my kids will never live in poverty.
Before the walls closed in on Griselda, before the feds finally caught her slipping, there was one chapter that rarely gets talked about, her secret life in California, and the man she fell in love with. When Griselda moved her operation to Irvine, California in the early 80s, she was laying low, switching up her lifestyle, hiding in plain sight. But even then, the Cocaine Godmother stayed connected to the streets. And that's when she met him, a smooth, charismatic African-American man named Charles, known in the street stories as one of the few people she trusted outside her inner circle. He wasn't a kingpin, not a hitter, not a cartel guy, just a dude in California who caught her at a vulnerable moment. Some say he worked legit jobs. Some say he did light hustles on the side. All the rumors agree on one thing. Griselda loved him in a way she didn't love anybody else. He wasn't scared of her. That's what pulled her in. Most people trembled around the Godmother. But Charles would joke with her, check her, tease her, give her something she'd never had in her entire life. Normalcy neighbors would see them together at the mall, at restaurants, and nobody had a clue the woman sitting with him was one of the most dangerous people on the planet. For once, Griselda wasn't hiding from the cops. She was hiding from herself. But the streets are the streets. And when you mix emotions with crime, it always gets messy. Some people say Charles got pulled into her world deeper than he wanted. Others say the DEA approached him and he backed away, not wanting to be caught in the crossfire of a $2 billion empire. There's even whispers he gave up small information, not enough to endanger her life, but enough for the feds to track her movements. None of that was ever proven. But Griselda, she believed it. And when Griselda believed you crossed her, there was never a happy ending. Charles disappeared from public view shortly before Griselda's California arrest in 1985. No paperwork, no witness statements, no body. Some locals say he moved states and started a new life. Some say he changed identities. Others, the ones closer to her old crew, believe he was handled quietly. The truth? Only Griselda and Charles knew, and both of them took that secret to the grave. On September 3rd, 2012, karma caught up. Griselda Blanco was shot twice in the head outside a butcher shop in Medellin. The hitman used her own signature method, a motorcycle drive-by. Poetic justice. The streets don't forget their teachers. Griselda Blanco's story is more than power. It's the price of it. She showed the world that women could run the game, but also that no one, no matter how feared, escapes its cost. From Medellin to Miami, she built an empire, broke the rules, and became a name whispered in both fear and fascination. That's why she'll forever be remembered as the Cocaine Godmother.